through all those changes from college football. And Jimmy Johnson, who made a very successful leap from college to the pros, said Urban is having a hard time adjusting, and there's one major difference between the two.
He's a little frustrated right now because he spent so little time with the players. He's accustomed to being around the players all the time, and they weren't able to do that because of COVID-19 and the situation.
COVID definitely played a significant role in this. They were fined recently for violating some of the off-season protocols.
Right.
Not related to COVID, but just like contact rules, because you can't have players there. It's not the same as college.
Well, listen, this has been, Pete Carroll was a college guy. He went to the NFL, and he has been fined multiple times because of illegal practices. Yeah. Why? Because in college, Pete could control his environment. In the NFL, you can't. Jim Harbaugh, college guy, NFL. Why did he struggle in the NFL? He struggled with his GM, Trent Baalke, because he wanted players and Trent Baalke wouldn't give him control. Nick Saban couldn't get Drew Brees to pass his physical in Miami. He said, hell with this, I'm going to go to college. When you look at college guys who have had great success, it's the control thing.
Yeah.
And Harbaugh struggled with not controlling the personnel. Pete Carroll struggled with not having enough practices. He's been fined multiple times. Nick Saban struggled with the medical staff not giving him what he want, the okay for Drew Brees. So this is a very real thing. And I think you and I have said this before. We don't doubt that Urban can coach or knows personnel. That's
right.
not it. I mean, he's going to have that. They had a very good draft. They're going to be fine in the drafting thing. And he's a super smart guy. It's a psychology. You can't control the players. You can't control practice. You don't have an AD you can run over. You're going to have multiple players over time making more than you.
Yeah.
And these are grown men. So this is the struggle that we kind of predicted.
Well, yeah, because in college, you can have practices that aren't mandatory, but you better be there. They're not mandatory. The NCAA has regulations on that too, but you're going to be there in college. If it's non-mandatory practices or camps in the pros, you don't have to go and you're not going. And these are professionals. So they can argue like, Coach, I ain't going to be there, but I'm going to be working out all week. I'm just not, I'm on vacation with my family. It's off season. I'm chilling here with my kids. I'm going to work out here. The team trainer has sent me the workout. I'm doing that here with my trainer. I'll see you at training camp.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do. Yeah. And you can't even get mad because he's going to get mad. Like, I'm going to be in better shape than whatever practice you're going to put me through.
That's right.
So it's a whole difference. What it is a different business. It's the same sport, but it's a different business. And the level of college kids, learning how to, become adults and dealing with, girlfriends and like all these different things as you're growing up to then becoming a professional, well, you don't have to ask permission to do things. Like, this is my job. This is how this works. You have this role and I have this role. And it's not even necessarily the money thing. You're an adult.
It's not the money thing.
You have to speak to people differently. They have children. They have wives. They have mortgages. It's a different world. So the Cowboys finally signed Dak to a long-term extension earlier this offseason. It took over 2 years to get the deal done. It felt like we talked about it for about 15.
Yeah.
And Stephen Jones was asked about his biggest regret as an executive. And
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, hits keep coming for Team USA. Bradley Beal was placed in health and safety protocols this week and has now been ruled out for the Olympics. Jeremy Grant is also going through protocols, but Greg Popovich is optimistic he'll be able to return to the team. And then today, Kevin Love decided to withdraw from Team USA, so he will not be going to Tokyo.
Is that an injury too, Kevin Love?
Well, yes, he came to this decision because he's returning from the calf injury, and he doesn't feel like he's at peak performance yet.
All right, I get that.
So he will not be going. So they now have to replace Kevin Love and Bradley Beal.
John Morant.
I would love to see John Morant on Team USA. I think John Morant is probably in good shape as well, which seems to be a big issue for Team USA. Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton are obviously still playing in the finals, so they're not with the team yet. So they currently have 6 players: Bam, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard, and Jason Tatum. They also had to cancel their exhibition game against Australia tonight because of health and safety concerns. And Team Australia has a higher level of rules and protocols for COVID than Team USA has. So Team USA is in Vegas right now, but they're not under the, bubble-like scenario. They're allowed to have their family there because no families are traveling to Tokyo. They're allowed to move freely throughout the hotel.
Right.
I don't know everybody's vaccination status, but it's coming down to the wire for getting the team together, getting them conditioned and ready to play in Tokyo. And now they have two very important pieces out. I mean, every piece is important, but it's Bradley Beal and Kevin Love out, and they now have to replace them on top of not having Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton there with the team. So a lot going on for Team USA and a lot to figure out. In the next couple of days, Woj tweeted that Spurs forward Keldon Johnson is gaining a lot of support because he plays as a member of the USA Select Group, and he's apparently well-conditioned. So everyone is pushing for him to join the team, but we'll see who they select to replace Kevin Love and Bradley Beal. So Urban Meyer is getting his first taste of coaching.
And Philadelphia. So Philadelphia could say, you get Ben Simmons. If you gave me Ben Simmons, Thibault, and Seth Curry. So Seth Curry, I would demand that. He can shoot. You got to give me a shooter in this. Philadelphia can probably give you a little bit of now and the future. But here's my problem. I don't believe you can build an NBA franchise around Ben Simmons. I don't think he has the personality for it. And Dame does. There's only about 10 guys in this league I think have the personality I can build around. Devin Booker looks like he's got the right personality. He's a grown-up. He's engaging. He can handle the media. Teammates like him. He's big in big games. You know, Steph Curry, LeBron James. Go look at the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard's a top 5 player in the league. And look at their difficulties because of Kawhi's personality. It's not just how good of a player you are. Anthony Davis is a 1 as a player. He's not a leader. You can't build around Anthony Davis's personality, semi-committed player, hurt a lot. It's not just that. Dame plays every night. He's totally committed to basketball. He's great at it. He's a great teammate. He travels well, takes the guys out. The old guys like him. The kids like him. It's Ben Simmons. Nobody likes him. Like, you can't build around. I always said this about Carmelo Anthony and Westbrook. It's not that they're not great players. They're Hall of Famers. I can't build around their personalities. Like, Carmelo had no self-awareness. Westbrook's best friend, he said, is the ball. It can't be that. Dame's best friend is Nurkic. And C.J. McCollum. He gets along with everybody. So the Philadelphia is going to get all the talk on this deal, and they've got a lot of interesting pieces. Seth Curry, Ben Simmons, Thibault. But your A is hopefully Simmons, and I wouldn't want him leading my franchise. I think we always undervalue the quality of a guy and a guy's personality. The NBA is the smallest locker room. You know, baseball, a third of your roster is down in the bullpen. They're not even in the dugout. In the NFL, as Joey knows, her brother, a Hall of Fame player, at halftime, the defensive guys go to the right, the offensive guys go to the left. If they can't stand each other, I mean, literally go to a football practice. The offensive guys down there, the defensive guys are huddling over there. Basketball, 13 dudes, private plane. They're around each other all the time. It just takes, and if your star player is difficult, nonverbal, aloof, it affects everything. That's why Tim Duncan and Brady are so valuable. Like, Tim Duncan was perfect. He was committed. He let Pop yell at him. He was very Brady-like. You know, with Duncan, he didn't need to score. If you told him, hey, the final shot's going to go to Manu, he's totally cool with it. Like, he had a very Brady quality. Is that when you look at most dynasties, Golden State with Steph Curry, LeBron, D. Wade were on one. You know, when you look at most dynasties, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, it's not just their games. It's their personalities, their toughness, their courage. They'll take the big shot. They're coachable. They'll listen. They engage other teammates. I mean, Michael was feisty, but there's pictures all over, you know, the internet of him playing cards with the guys on the plane and steaks and wine and golfing with his buddies, and it matters. So Philadelphia is going to get all the talk in this thing. I'd be very, very cautious if I was Portland with Ben Simmons and his casual indifference. It's what I used to always say about Jay Cutler, the quarterback for the Bears. You couldn't deny his talent. Jay Cutler had a huge arm. He was smart. He went to Vanderbilt. He had a huge arm. I don't want to build my franchise around Jay Cutler. And I know Jay, and Jay was talented, but there was an indifference to him, a casualness. I struggle with that. The great teams have a committed player who other players hover around, improve around, relate to, connect to, and Simmons doesn't have that. He just doesn't.